People have always found it difficult to lock in. And the problem people have is that they have way too many distractions. And instead of doing something, they put it on this massive pedestal. And this is not just, creating content. This is not just starting a business. This is not, this can be like talking to women. People put these imaginary pedestals for these sort of things, right? And they overanalyze, overthink everything. And I believe why people do that is because of social media. Social media has created this idea that has sort of perpetuated the fact that you can't be yourself because you're going to be judged by others. So people are perpetually overthinking and not enjoying or expressing themselves as they should be. So what I notice is that when you want to do something and something is so innately difficult and you're finding it difficult to push the button to do that thing and it feels like an imaginary force field. Speaking to women is a perfect one, right? A lot of guys generally don't have any confidence speaking to women because they feel they're terrified of being rejected. Yeah, if you want to not be rejected, well, what you're telling me is um, you're afraid to fail. Now, the only difference between a winner and a loser is that a winner is not afraid to fail. A loser gives up. And a loser doesn't even start most of the time. He has one no and he goes, oh, whatever. The only difference between someone who is able to lock in is the consistency and being disciplined where you do that shit every day. You got to post 3 times a day. Oh, I don't want to post 3 times a day. Tough fucking titty. You have to. Do you want to be financially free in the sense that you don't have to think about finances? You're not stressed out about thinking, how am I going to pay this water bill? How am I going to pay for a new boiler? How am I going to... These things shouldn't even cloud your mind. But unfortunately, we live in a society where there's so many societal pressures where, you know, everything is driven by money and inflation is increasing by a massive target. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is in order to lock in order to focus on these things, you need to remove all distractions. But removing distractions isn't enough. The main thing you need to do is stop putting this task on a pedestal, right? Start doing it. Whenever you start something, I don't care if it's the gym, I don't care if it's learning a language, you're going to be terrible. I'm telling you now, you're going to be the worst ever at that thing. You're not going to be good. It's not going to be, you're going to have a bad time, right? So, but the more you get used to that, the more you get used to that uncomfortability and you put yourself in that uncomfortable position, you start to sort of enjoy the practice of learning that thing, of doing that thing, because it no longer feels uncomfortable. If you go to the gym, the first time you go in there, you feel uncomfortable. You feel like everyone's watching you. You feel like, oh my God, oh, you feel like I'll look embarrassing. I don't know what I'm doing in the gym. I don't know how, I don't have good form. What if people are just watching me and judging me? I mean, there might be, but who cares? You know, what, you're going to not start something because you're worried of what people think? You're going to die. Do you not understand? You're going to die very, very soon. You think it's miles away. And don't get me wrong, life is said that it is short, but I don't think it is as short as people make out it is. It's not. It really isn't. But it's also not very long either. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is you being obsessed about not taking inaction is going to sit on your mind more than if you take the action and fail, right? If you go up and talk to that girl, right, and she goes, no, which it very likely is not going to happen. Just to be clear, let's look at the worst scenario ever, right? You go up to her, you say, hello, how are you? My name's Lucas. I find you attractive, whatever it may be, right? Whatever you say, and you go, and she goes, oh, you're the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Don't ever talk to me. I hope you die. Right? Very unlikely, but if it happens, like, why do you let someone's external input or output, I should say, ruin your whole mental model, right? If you are as confident as you think you are, you should be able to go up and talk to her and say, and if she pies you off, move on. And as I was turning back earlier, right, the difference between a loser and a winner is someone who goes, oh, that girl said no, move on, go on to the next one. You know, the guy who goes in the gym, maybe gets judged. And the reality is, right, when you go to the gym, no one cares. Most people don't give a shit. They've all got their headphones in and they're all focused on themselves, right? But let's say someone judges you, and the only people who judge you in the gym are inexperienced people who barely go and are worried about being judged themselves, right? But let's say you get judged, right? And you come back the next day and you don't see them and you just train anyway. And you go home and you come back the next day. And that is the difference between someone who succeeds and fails. It's someone who is not afraid to fail. If you want to be successful on social media, you need to upload 5, 6 times a day, or 3 times a day minimum, right? But then you're missing days, or you're making excuses why you haven't uploaded to yourself. If you value who you are and you value the content you want to create and you believe you're creating value for other people, you not putting out that value is a distrust to yourself, and it's reinforcing the fact that you have no value at all. So there's lots of distractions that happen in life, there's lots of, pornography is a big one. And I think it's poison to the man's mind, right? But I believe that if you are constantly overstimulating your brain, we are never going to, you are never going to be able to lock in, right? And that's the point I'm making, is locking in is very possible to everyone and anyone. But if you are constantly putting what you want on a pedestal, you will never have it, right? You need to remove distractions. You need to put a schedule in of your life. If you see yourself as a constant professional, why not schedule your time, value your time every second of every day, schedule this, 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 this. I eat, shit, sleep at this time, right? You remove the distractions, you've scheduled your day, you've said you're going to do something, you do it even if you don't feel like doing it, and then just upload it, right? Upload something on it. And the reason why people don't do it is because they are afraid of what people think. They are lazy. They feel like what they're uploading is not enough. It's not enough value. What I'm uploading is not enough value. Why not? You don't need all this cool editing. You don't need amazing camera quality. You don't need any of this crap. You just need to start. And if you keep putting it on this pedestal, like it's some imaginary pedestal, like it's something that is so deeply hard to do, it's always going to stay that hard. If every time you want to go talk to a girl and you don't talk to her, it's going to become even more increasingly difficult to talk to her. Because you imagine you put something off for years and years and years and years and years and don't do it at all. It's what you're not doing, and it's inaction based on the fear of action, right? You are so terrified of taking action for what you want in life that you don't do anything and time passes. Because that person that you want to become is very doable, but if you push it away, keep pushing away, you'll never achieve it, for one. But number two, the scary thing is you'll become resentful of the person you didn't become. Because that person, right, let's say if you keep trying, the statistical likelihood of you failing is a lot slimmer, But even if you fail, you can say you tried. That's all that matters. You can say you tried. I tried locking in. I tried uploading every day. I tried creating that business. I tried, investing into Bitcoin, you know. And as long as you can say you've tried and you've tried your hardest and you give everything you've got, why can't you have it? Because it's the greatest analogy I've made is that, and that I understand and I believe, is that it's like buying a lottery ticket, right? To win the lottery, you win 20 million pounds, right? And let's say there's a lottery draw once a week. Now, if you do it every week, right? Let's say there's about 70 million people in the UK. Let's say, right? Or wherever you're from, 300 million in the US, whatever it may be, right? Let's say there is 70 million in the UK and you buy a lottery ticket. Now, how many people enter the lottery every week? One in, like, well, basically, let's say 20 million, right? Now, how many people buy a lottery ticket every week? Probably a lot less. You're probably talking about 2 million, right? So by you just buying a lottery ticket every week, you have minimized your competition by about 10-15%, right? These are very rough figures. I'm trying to work this out in my head. Anyway, let's just say, right, then imagine you're someone who buys 5 lottery tickets every week. Now, how many people do you think will be doing that? And not only that, what do you think your chances of winning are? Let's say that number's now turned to 200,000. 200,000 people, 1 in 200,000 people. So now you were once 1 in 20 million, now you're 1 in 200,000. Now imagine that, and you put it towards content, or you put it towards building a business, or you put it towards the gym. The gym is a perfect one, right? The more time you put in, obviously rest is important and nutrition, but the more time you put in, the more you're going to get out, and that's what I realized. Everything is possible. Everything is possible, but you just need to be so damn consistent, so damn compelling, and like you want it so much, but you need to really give it everything. And the reason why I'm so passionate and believe this is the case? I'll explain. I've gone to the gym for many years, and I've trained for, well, talk about 11 years now, um, going to the gym consistently. And the biggest thing I realized is that obviously over time, with enough time, you make progress, and people start to give you steroid allegations, which is a fantastic compliment, but it's not true, of course. I wouldn't keep all this locks, mate, if I was on the source. Anyway, but what I realized is that I never really got fulfilled from just weightlifting, even though I got a great physique. And sometimes the physique I got, or have, I should say, is one that most people would want themselves. I never got fulfilled from that. So, and I always wanted, I've done martial arts, I'm first dan black belt in karate, but I wanted to do boxing, and I did my first white collar boxing fights at 23 in 2023. And I did that, and there was a lot of background stress that was going on, a lot of, domestics in my family situation, and a lot of micromanagement from work. And what I realized is that um, I was, after all that load of stress, everything above me, um, I was training. I was training so hard. I was training twice a day, 6 times a week. a run in the morning and then boxing in the evening and doing weight training. There was a time where I boxed. Sorry, I ran to the gym, which was about 3 miles, and then I went and done weights, and then I did rowing for like 45 minutes, and then I ran back for half an hour, and that was like a daily occurrence. And I noticed the more you put in with boxing, just like the gym, just like any of these other things, the more you get out of it, the better, more cardiovascular fitness you have, the better you will be. And the harder you work, the more you'll get out. And I was so nervous, trying to understand, like, was I going to win? You know, and what I realized is that my willpower and my heart I have within me to win is unlike anyone else. Truly, if I want something, I'll get it because I'll do everything in my power to get it. I will work so fucking hard, and I won. And it was probably one of the most difficult things I'd done, like amateur fight, and it was so hard for me. Um, and the guy I was fighting, he weren't no easy touch. He was a big, arrogant twat, the worst kind of person. Like he thought he was the big I am, and he was gonna ruin me and beat the shit into me, and I won because I wanted it. But I was so consistent with my training, and as soon as I won, I was so relieved because I lost like the first round, and the second could have went either way, but the third and fourth went my way because I wanted it that bad, and my cardio stood up. But I realized that after that fight, if I put in the effort enough, I could achieve what I wanted. And nothing ever made me feel that way, And you can say luck is a thing, and luck, I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in being lucky. What I believe in, truly, is hard work, and the probability of me winning is down to the amount of times I show up and get the work done. And that's it. And that can happen to you, anyone. And I believe if I am consistent with providing value to the world, I will achieve what I want. And if I do what is necessary, I will achieve what I want. So, and it's very achievable. Anyone can do it. And I don't believe I'm a special creature. I don't believe I'm a special human being. I just have self-belief in myself. And if you have a structured lifestyle, you remove distractions, you are consistent, and you work hard, and you have self-belief, those are the things you just need. That's it.